place, leading pack, heading down in towards the braking area for Brundle and Nelson. Kyle Reid looking to try and keep his stranglehold on this championship, so two wins across the farm, handling yesterday, beating is yet to be beaten. Cooper broke fast so far this year. Simon Walton is going to try and see what he might be able to do to squeeze his way, if he can, through into the lead of the race, and that for him would be his first ever race victory. He's been knocking on the door for a good period of time as Simon Walton, as he said to Matt Suckling yesterday, but maybe this weekend where he might finally get the break. The Murray thread their way in order, as I said, Kyle Reid from Simon Walton, from Rob Dalgleish. That's the top three, and now Simon Walton's going for the lead of the race. Did Kyle Reid miss a gear there, because all of a sudden the car appeared much slower than Simon Walton, who's gone through to take up the lead of the race. I'm not sure whether there was a missed gear there, because it didn't look as though Kyle Reid coming in towards Murray's was under huge amounts of pressure, but by the time they reappeared from the corner of the building, it was Simon Walton had been able to sneak his way through and take up the lead of the race, and a lead of the race which he's going to hang on to, I think, as they're heading towards the braking area for Wilson this time through. No, Kyle Reid's back at the inside, very late on the brakes, just as Simon Walton was about to turn in. He saw that Kyle Reid was there and had to get back out the move once more, so Kyle Reid briefly down into second place, and now Simon Walton is in danger of slipping to third. He has, as Rob Dalgleish fires one up the inside. All of that was as a result of Simon Walton trying to turn in at Wilson, realising Kyle Reid was there. That hampered his progress on the way out of the corner and dropped him from the lead down to second, and now down to third as Rob Dalgleish took the opportunity to pounce. So it's the Scotsman back into second place, Simon Walton back down into third place, and now under attack from the Aussie that he's got behind him, which is Jacob Andrews. Richard Newman is not too far away as well at the wheel of his largely white and blue and red number 56 car. So it's Kyle Reid and then 4 cars thereafter before we then get a gap, and Toby Goodman's light blue car that concludes the top 6 at this stage. As for the Cooper Ams, well, it's still Alex Neville that is heading the charge of the Cooper Ams, but right behind him is Andy Godfrey, and still within touching distance is Neil Clark as well, so the same order as they crossed the finish line in yesterday's race, as they thread their way out of Hamilton in towards the braking area for Oggies. So it's a 5-minute race, a 10-minute race. We've got 6 minutes remaining, with Kyle Reid back in the lead of the race, managing to break away on a bit of a buffer between himself and the car in second place, which is Simon Walton, who's managed to slipstream his way back through into second place once more, back ahead of Rob Dalgleish. So it looks as though here they come back into sight. Kyle Reid leads the race. Simon Walton is in second place. The red car with its white roof is Rob Dalgleish in third place. Jacob Andrews sits there in fourth position. Rob Newman's still there in fifth place. Sixth place is still the light blue car. That's Toby Goodman that sits there in sixth place as they beat their way onto the centre straight this time through. And is Simon Walton going to pick up the toe from the race leader? Kyle Reid jinks from one side of the circuit to the other to try and break the toe of Simon Walton, who's sitting right behind him. And of course, he's making the hole in the air, which allows Simon Walton to close ever more for the lead of the race. He's not close enough though as they went in towards Ritchie's corner. Is he going to be close enough to do anything about it? No, as soon as they come out of Ritchie's, Kyle Reid moves to the right-hand side of the circuit to protect the inside line for the braking area for Wilson. So he's still hanging on to the lead of the race, but there's, what, a quarter of a car left between the lead pair as they head out of Wilson. Over the start finish line goes the lead battle for the Cooper Ams, and Andy Godfrey is looking to try and mount a challenge on Alex Neville to take the lead of Cooper Am away. He's not close enough either as they head up towards Ritchie's corner, so they still remain in the same order, as do the leading pack of cars, which is now sort of 5, and then just a shade further back is Toby Goodman in 6th place, so it's still all rather close. 5 for the lead, Toby Goodman just that little bit further away in 6th place. And as they now head round through Agostini, it looks as though, yeah, the lead 6 have pretty much got themselves together. Kyle Reid still under pressure for the lead of the race from Simon Walton, but he's not close enough to do anything on the brakes in towards Oggies this time through. As for Cooper Ams, well, it looks as though in 3rd position in Cooper Ams, that is going to be the car of Neil Clark. He has, I think, fallen away a shade more into the clutches of Gary Packworth, the number 51 car this time. They are just now, those two very similarly liveried cars, heading up towards Hamilton. But for Neil Clark, he is, I think, still just ahead. It's difficult to tell the bar. One's got a red roof, one's got a white roof, but I haven't made a note of that on my notes, but sort that one out next time they come through and over the start finish line. Massive lap of the race last time through was Toby Goodman as the top 5 cars all being swallowed in the car in 6th place. Toby Goodman was able to post a massive lap of the race and in his efforts to catch up with them, so it is pretty much 6th for the lead at this stage. Kyle Reid still out front though, with a little bit of a gap between himself and Simon Walton, who's coming back under attack yet again from Rob Dalgleish. Is Rob going to do anything at Murray's? No, he opts just to stick behind the second place car, turns his way through the left-hander, and this is going to chalk lap number 3 into the book with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go at the moment. They're going to be heading on to their penultimate lap of the race this time through. So over the start-finish line, they thread their way. Kyle Reid under pressure from Simon Walton, who's looking to draw himself alongside, and it's on the left-hand side of the circuit. That's the outside line for Richie's corner. He's going to try and cut back on the exit to give him the inside line on the run in towards the braking area for Wilson. What he was trying to, but again, Kyle Reid moves from the left-hand side of the circuit to the right-hand side to protect the all-important inside line. So nose to tail for the lead of the race, whilst Rob Dalgleish is there in 3rd place. He's left the door open a little bit there as Jacob Andrews looks to try and stick his nose up the inside. Couldn't quite manage to sneak his way through, and now as they head up towards Palmer, Rob Dalgleish has pounced and has got himself through and ahead of Simon Walton, who was offline there, and he might allow Jacob Andrews to sneak through as well. Kyle Reid leads the race. It's Rob Dalgleish in 2nd place. It is Jacob Andrews in 3rd place. The door was left open. The offline Simon Walton has now lost 2 places at the same corner, so he's now down into 4th position. He was hoping for a win here this weekend. Well, at the moment, he's not even on the podium. We've got Richard Newman there in 5th place, and the light blue Biscott supporting machine of Toby Goodman wraps up the top 6 at the moment. But this is a very good race, and all the squabbling behind is just allowing Kyle Reid to open up a very slender advantage between himself and the pack of cars behind. As for Cooper Am, well, it's still as close as it's been over the course of the last couple of laps. It is still Alex Neville that is hanging on to the lead of the Cooper Am class. From in 2nd position as they disappear around through Agostini, the car still of Andy Godfrey, and now it's no longer another 2 cars thereafter, Neil Clark and Gary Packworth, because one of them has fallen ever more adrift. That looks like it's potentially Neil Clark that's fallen ever more adrift by the look of things. Black and white warning flag going out for a couple of cars, not least of which is the number 51 car of Gary Packworth, and the other car that's receiving the black and white warning flag is Richard Newman, who is there in 5th place overall. Fastest lap of the race again on that lap went away of Toby Goodman, the number 85 car. That's at the tail end of this pack of cars heading round through Corham now. The checkered flag is going to be ready for them next time through as they then feed their way onto the centre straight. This is lap number 4 that's about to be completed, so it's going to be a 5-lap race as Kyle Reid heads over the start-finish line, and he's pretty much broken the toe now on his fellow Scotsman Rob Dalgleish, who sits there in 2nd place. Jacob Andrews in 3rd place. Richard Newman in 4th place has also managed to get himself ahead of Simon Walton. Simon Walton started that lap in something like 2nd and ends it in 5th place by the look of things. 6th place is number 85, Toby Goodman. 7th place is Stuart McLaren. 8th place is 82, which is Lydia Walmsley. 9th place is 36, Mark Cornell. And completing the top 10 at this stage will be the number 47 car of James Goodall. That's the top 10. As for the lead of Cooper Am, well, they are still together, the little trio. It's still being headed by the silver car in the hands of Alex Neville, who, as we say, is as yet to be beaten in this class so far this year, as is Kyle Reid in the Cooper Pros, and it looks as though Alex Neville has just got a little bit of breathing space between himself and Neil and the car that's in 2nd place, which is Andy Godfrey. Andy Godfrey is sort of rolling his sleeves up and concentrating his efforts on keeping Neil Clark's aspirations at bay, which is the number 50 car that's currently 3rd in Cooper Am. We will have separate podiums for both of these classes. Car number 51 is being given a 5-second penalty for track limits, and that is the car of Gary Packworth. So not only had he sort of fallen away from the pack behind, he's now been handed a 5-second penalty as well for not staying within the confines of the circuit, as the leading train of cars head on to the Bentley Straight for what will be the final time. And I think Kyle Reid has enough in hand here so as to not to worry about the cars behind him as they head down the Bentley Straight, because Rob Dalgleish is just too far away. And it certainly looks as though Jacob Andrews is going to finish on the podium for the first time. The Coventry-based student who's come over here to study from Australia. Australia, but finished 6th at Donington Park for the first race of the season. He was 4th yesterday. step onto the podium, I would have thought, for the first time today. As for the lead of the race, Rob Dogley is working reasonably hard on this last lap. He's given himself half an opportunity here on the charge to the flag, I would suggest, to try and steal the race away from Kyle Reid. Neat and tidy is Kyle Reid, though, as they head out of Murray's for the first time. And on the charge to the flag, has Rob Dogley done enough? Here they come, up towards the start-finish line. Kyle Reid is leading. Rob Dogley is not going to close sufficiently far and quickly enough. So it is Kyle Reid that comes through and claims yet another win. Rob Dogley in second place. Jacob Andrews with his first podium in third place, ahead of Richard Newman, Simon Walton, and the car of Tony Goodman. It will be Stuart McLaren who will finish just outside of the top six in seventh, ahead of Lydia Walmsley in eighth place. Ninth place is just going to go the way of James Goodall in ninth place, takes all of the way to the start-finish line by Mark Cornell, who will finish in 10th place. And as for Cooper Am, well, it certainly looks as though Alex Neville is also just going to do enough so as to keep up his unbeaten run in his respective class. Carl Reid yet to be beaten in Cooper Pro, and well, as long as he gets out of Murray's cleanly, it looks as though he's still to be beaten in Cooper Am this year. It's going to be a delighted Alex Neville on the run to the flag. Now he's got more than enough in hand so as to keep Andy Godfrey's aspirations at bay. It's another class win for Alex Neville from Andy Godfrey and Neil Clark. They are the top three in Cooper Am. Gary Papworth takes the checkered flag in 14th position on the road. He's got a 5-second penalty, let's not forget. By the time you add that 5-second penalty, it actually drops him behind Adrian Norman, who will inherit fourth in the class, number 54, as a result of that penalty for Gary Papworth. He just loses to one place. He drops from 14th and fourth in class.